we have a couple of things to talk about in the world of Xbox. I am patiently and cautiously optimistic because, as I've said many times, the best thing for the health of the industry is a healthy industry across the board. So if Xbox is healthy, PlayStation's healthy, Nintendo's healthy, Steam is healthy, everybody wins because there's competition that forces prices down. When people feel like I could go with an Xbox, I could go with a PlayStation, that forces both sides to be more competitive, okay? You should hope that Xbox figures their crap out. And it does seem like there is a lot of very serious work happening behind the scenes to overhaul some of these systems. And it also sounds like, and it doesn't sound like this is even that, like they're not being coy about this point. It seems like the inner workings of Xbox were pretty antiquated and messy in the aftermath of Phil Spencer's departure. So this report comes from Asha, or from The Verge, talking about Asha Sharma making her big decisions on Xbox Game Pass and the Xbox platform. As you can see, Microsoft's new Xbox head or chief has had a busy couple of months after promising the return of Xbox. Asha Sharma met with publishers at the Game Developer Conference in March and has also been on the road visiting Microsoft's own game studios and product teams in recent weeks. Sharma, who used to work in Microsoft's core AI division, is very much in learning mode and talking to as many people as she can about everything before she makes strategic decisions on the future of Xbox. Some of those decisions are about to be made very soon. Sources at Xbox tell me Sharma has been looking closely at Game Pass pricing recently with a view to offer a wider range of pricing models. Sharma offered or admitted that the Game Pass offering, quote, has become too expensive for players in an internal memo sent earlier this week. We touched on this, but basically she's identified that $30 freaking a month for Game Pass Ultimate is too much. It's too much. It doesn't work. So she's allegedly been looking at ways to adjust that. The most obvious way, remove Call of Duty day one. Make Call of Duty Pass or whatever. Like, I don't care. But like, I don't want to pay an extra $5 a month just to help cover the expense of developing Call of Duty. I'm not going to play Call of Duty. I don't need Call of Duty. I don't want it in my Game Pass offering. Take it out and I pay less and I'm happy, right? Same thing. You could do the same thing with like a World of Warcraft pass. You could do different little bitty things like that if they wanted to. I would prefer a more streamlined offering, but if they're going to offer cheaper options while trying to build out a wide variety of options, that's probably what they're going to do. There's also been rumors that they're going to do like an ad-supported free version. I don't personally think that's ever going to happen. I don't see how that would work. Like, how do you serve ads to people? You have to watch a minute ad before you start playing your game, and then you watch an ad every hour or every 45 minutes. I don't know. Maybe some people like that. I genuinely don't know. Maybe people in chat can say, like, I'm trying to think, in the times where I was really broke, would I have gotten Game Pass free if it meant like 2 minutes of ads every hour or 3 minutes of ads every hour? Would I do that? Honestly, when I was like really, really broke, I might have, especially if it meant I could play like brand new games that I couldn't afford for 70, but all I had to do was like, let's be real, you're just gonna like boot it up, the ad starts, and then you're gonna go to the bathroom or go get a drink or a snack. Like, I don't think anybody's sitting there, but that's also probably why they wouldn't be able to do that. Because I think every advertiser would know, no, people aren't going to actually watch it. They're going to pull out their phone and be on their phone. And then, they could do the really toxic thing. You know how like in school, when you would have, or like work trainings where they'd be like, okay, watch this video, this work training video. I remember they did this when I worked at Best Buy. I had to sit through this video. That's the most boring thing ever. It's like a 15-minute video. And then it ends. And you know what they do? They send you a list of like multiple choice questions. And it doesn't have to do with the content, because you can probably guess your way through the content. It was like specific things like, what color shirt was the man wearing? How many children did the lady have? Stuff like that, where it was just little bitty things to see if you actually sat and watched the whole thing. It was really, really, really annoying. Anyway, maybe that's what they do. They do ads that then you have to like answer a quiz for, and that's how they do it. Hopefully not. That just took me back. That was a flashback. Anyway, so as you can see, quote, Game Pass is central to gaming value on Xbox. It's also clear that the current model isn't the final one. This is another way of saying the current model is not working, so we got to do something differently. Player behavior, content economics, and markets vary too much for a single approach to work everywhere, said Sharma. Quote, short-term Game Pass has become too expensive for players, so we need a better value equation. Long-term, we will evolve Game Pass into a more flexible system, which will take time to test and learn around. I understand one potential option under consideration is Game Pass subscription tier, which only includes games from their first-party studios. This would fall under a more flexible system that Sharma hints at. Bundles could help here. I reported in February that Microsoft is looking at ways to bundle third-party services like Game Pass into Game Pass subscriptions. Netflix co-CEO Greg Peters told the Information last month that he and Sharma had kicked around ideas for partnering on subscription bundles. This is basically just turning into cable TV all over again. Being real, okay? Being real. This is just turning into cable. Do you want the Game Pass add-on subscription? If you want that, you can add it to your Netflix subscription and you'll save 7% on each one as long as you agree to a 12-month plan. Like, it's stuff like that. I would not be surprised if they do that. So they're exploring that. They're, of course, Sharma quickly reversed this is an Xbox strategy and everything. But look at this, okay? Sharma looks set to continue making even bigger Xbox platform investments with the next-gen Project Helix console on the horizon. In her internal memo this week, Sharma lays out what she learned about the Xbox platform. Quote, this is very, very interesting. It's clear that our ambitions require deeper investment in the Xbox platform foundations than we've made before. Today, we operate across dozens of surfaces, pipelines, and release models without a shared code repository or common data foundation. As a result, quality and speed too often depends on heroics instead of systems. We also lack consistent infrastructure and experimentation, attribution, and learning, making it harder to know what's working and improve quickly. On the product side, our front end is a set of experiences built at different times, where discovery, relevance, and social are not first class, and players have to work to find what to do next or who to play with. These are all true. I mean, that's all true. Their UI on their console dashboard is pretty antiquated. It was actually, we kind of forgot about it, but you remember when they announced the next-gen Xbox and PlayStation 5, they had overhauled the UI significantly with the PS5, even to the point where a lot of people don't like it. I still prefer the old version of the PS4 UI, if I'm being real, but they overhauled that UI. It looked different. It looked fresh. Xbox's was basically the same, basically the same. And so things haven't really progressed, and they're finally adding like quality of life improvements to it, but that's something that they just didn't do for the last 5 years. I think it just wasn't a priority for them. The solution to these Xbox issues is a deep investment in engineering and data foundations, according to Sharma. I'd expect it also means a more unified Xbox UI across console, PC, and cloud. Xbox Cloud Gaming's new design already includes plenty of new animations, and Sharma also wants to accelerate, quote, a more connected PC experience with stronger discovery, relevance, and social, so players can move across games, devices, and friends without friction. It will be interesting to see what impact Sharma has on Project Helix, Microsoft's next console. The next Xbox will play PC games and lead in performance, but it's still a mystery how Microsoft will tackle the interface for Project Helix, especially if Windows is running at the core. If Microsoft is leaning towards its Xbox PC app to help with Project Helix, then it has a lot of work ahead of it. It's true. The Xbox PC app is rough, and half the time you try to download something and it just doesn't download. You go to the support, I tried to download this game, it won't download. No, you just have to let it sit there for 45 minutes and then eventually it'll start downloading. It just takes a while. It is 2026 and you can't get it to consistently download a game when I press download game. What are we doing, dude? What is actually going on? Xbox Ally handheld shipped with the Xbox PC app that felt like a beta experience. While it has improved in recent months, it still feels like it was designed with a mouse and keyboard in mind rather than a controller. Phil Spencer admitted in 2018 that Microsoft had a ton of work to do on Windows for PC gamers, and I'd argue that 8 years later, that's still the case. It's now down to Sharma to figure out the next path for Xbox and PC. That's insane that was 2018. I remember him saying that and being like, okay, good. We're finally getting good Xbox on PC. 8 years ago. Eight. It's insane. But what else is going on? What else is going on with this? Well, let me show you. Matt Booty Matt Booty, he is the chief content officer. He's one of the only people that stayed behind after everything went down with Phil and Sarah Bond. He was previously in charge of all the studios, but Phil and Sarah both are gone. Matt remains. And he just sat down and did a 25-minute podcast. Now, this is basically like Disney does these things where they have the Disney whatever experience podcast. If you've watched that Jenny Nicholson video on the Star Wars Hotel, you know what I'm talking about? Where it's like a corporate-owned podcast where they sit and it's just a marketing event. It's not an actual podcast, but it's presented as one. So it's an ad in the shape of a podcast, just so you know before you go into this what you're seeing as we go through this. But this is one of the few times that Matt Booty is openly discussing strategy and what's happening, what their goals are. It's very, very interesting. Windows 11, Lamau, I mean, the fact that they are relying on Windows 11 to run the next generation console, I'm a little skeptical of how that'll go, but we'll see. We'll see. Adidas, thank you for the 5. Game Pass promise is every first-party game day one. If they take out COD, they have to take others. In 5 years, there'll be 0 first-party, slippery slope. Well, the problem is right now, it's not working. So they may keep Game Pass Ultimate, which has everything, but then they'll go down to Game Pass Premium, Game Pass Premier, and it's like $20 and it just doesn't have Call of Duty. So they'll find a way to balance it. But yeah, what's clear is that I think what they probably saw was the moment that they put it at 30, they saw a ton of people bail from their Ultimate memberships. I know I did. I have like 1 or 2 friends that I can think of that bailed as well. And so I'm sure it's in the like hundreds of thousands or millions of people that did. And so for them, I think it's just, if they want people like me back, yeah, just lower the price so it's not insane anymore. It's pretty straightforward, pretty easy. I did. Yeah, I see. There's plenty of other people who also did, because that's the line. It's like $30, man. This is really getting hard to justify. It just is. Like when Game Pass was $7 and had all the games you needed, okay, that's a no-brainer. Like I'll just keep that on forever and I won't think about it. When it gets to 30, you're like, bro, like I need to play one AAA game like every 2 months. Am I realistically getting that with Game Pass for it to pay for itself? Probably not. And so just really quickly, it doesn't make sense anymore. But anyway, literally every friend of mine that had Game Pass jumped ship at that point. Dude, imagine the data they had. Imagine if they just see the chart drop off a cliff when they did that. I think for Phil and Sarah, it was kind of too late. They thought people would go along with it, but they raised price. People forget they raised the price 50% in one go. 50% price hike. That is not inflation. That is not energy costs are difficult right now. That is, oh God, jack the price up. That was a desperation move. Tell you what, it's greed. Yeah, I think what happened is, as it was reported, I think the upper echelon at Microsoft said, we need 30% margin on your company. And they were like, oh crap, we can't do that in any clear way. I guess we'll just crank the price up. And they were hoping people would keep their membership, and they didn't. But anyway, let's see what Matt Booty had to say. I've not listened to this yet. I'm not sure what he's going to say, but people told me it was interesting. Let's see.
Games in this podcast range from E to M. Hello, and welcome to the official Xbox podcast. We've got a special episode for you today, coming off of a lot going on here at Xbox. We just announced our double feature Xbox Game Showcase and Gears E-Day Direct coming this summer. Killing the online multiplayer Pottery Party Brawler from Double Fine, I can't believe I got that, is out next week. And present content creators just got hands-on previews of Forza Horizon 6 for the first time. That's a lot, and I'm nearly out of breath, so it's really good that I've got friend to the podcast, now with a new title, Xbox Chief Content Officer, Matt Booty. Welcome, Matt.
Hi, I'm
Matthew.
super impressed you rattled off the multiplayer Pottery Party Brawler.
Online multiplayer party. You know what? When you think about it, it gets to be too much.
It's a genre that's heating up.
Exactly. First of its kind.
We're in early.
Yeah.
I just realized that like corporate conference room humor is basically church humor. That's basically what it is. If you've never been to like a church potluck, it's all dad jokes. This pottery game is heating up. Like that's basically what it is. It's very funny to me. It's like it's cringy, but it's also kind of endearing. I like it. Makes me feel like a child again.
Yes. Well, I'm so glad to have you here because I feel like we didn't just have 7 hours of a meeting together in showcase planning. It just wasn't enough. So
we did, but it was a good meeting.
It was.
I should let people in on that. We did yesterday
Yes.
review all of the trailers for the upcoming showcase.
Yes.
And it's probably one of my favorite meetings of the year, I think.
For sure.
Well, it's just cool to see.
So little inside baseball. So it's mid-April. And he said they just reviewed all the trailers for the upcoming showcase, for the summer showcase. So they have the trailers ready 2 months ahead of time? Or maybe he just means like, this is the trailers we're going to have. Some of them are done, some of them are not. And they're just like getting things lined up, I guess. But it does go to show you, like, these things are in the works way ahead of time. You see something in June and you're like, oh, I hope they can change this. It's like, yeah, they probably can, because that version of the game was from earlier this year. That's crazy.
The teams, there's some stuff that's really done, some stuff that's not done, some stuff that's amazing, some things that needs a little work, but it's the reflection of all the work that the teams are doing, and we all get to come together. It's a great point of the year where everybody's working together on one thing, which is always a lot of fun. And I just like the let's put on a show aspect of it, right? It's a lot of fun.
Absolutely. A whole group of people come together, first party, third party, everyone's kind of coming in an effort of how do we surprise and delight our audience?
Yeah.
Are there secrets we should spill about the planning process of Showcase?
I don't know about that. I'll say that we've got the Gears Direct coming, and after seeing that, we've probably got like a full 30 minutes, which is really great. And I don't know, I love everybody in that studio, the work they're doing. I'm excited about the game, and it's just we're gonna have a full 30 minutes of stuff to see.
Yeah, absolutely. We aim to deliver, and it was great. I was just at the Coalition.
I'm gonna be real. I like this. I like what they're doing. Open it up, make it more real to people. Don't go all Microsoft Corpo on it. Be real about it. Like, I think people love hearing the behind the scenes stuff. It makes them appreciate the end product a lot more when they know what went into it. And so in this case, I think it's great to just be like, yeah, so it's mid-April. We're sitting down with people right now. We're working on the showcase and we're tweaking some stuff because this thing, I don't think it'll play that right. So we're trying to change this and move that around. I think people love that. So I hope that they continue doing this. I'm digging it.
Filming the direct, we wrapped on that production, and just a really wonderful team, very passionate about what they do, very talented with everything that they do. And I want to talk about them, and I want to talk about all the other studios. But before we get into that, I feel like we got to talk about this fancy new title. What does this mean for you? What does this mean for the studios too?
Well,
yeah, what do you even do here?
I think it's more the latter, right? The title is more than anything a reflection of the work that the studios do. It is so core to who we are as Xbox and all the work that all our teams do across all our studios. It's a validation of their work. The title, I think you see it in other places. You see it in film, you see it in publishing. And so I think it brings just, again, a validation that says that Xbox takes these studios seriously, that Microsoft takes it seriously, and that content, the things that we build, all our great games, is important. So that's really what it's about. For me, my job stays the same. We were just, talking about this. It's like, it's such a privilege to be able to work with all these teams, and probably the best part of my job is having visibility into everything that they're all doing. And like, fortunately for me, none of that changes.
Yeah, you've always been on the circuit visiting studios, seeing what they're building. So what has that been like? Who have you seen lately? What have you?
Yeah, my understanding is his role is to basically manage the relationships with the studios. So like, if Asha, or before her, if Phil wanted to know what the hell is going on over at BGS, Matt is the guy who should know what's going on. So I think he's the point of contact, and that's probably realistically one of the strategic reasons they kept him instead of just clearing house fully and getting somebody new, is because he had already built relationships with those studios for years and years and years. And having somebody brand new come in and rebuild that would be a hassle. So I'm guessing that's why.
You played.
Well, there's just so much going on. I mean, I could almost just mentally do the tour of what's going on, right? I mean, we've got things, that have been announced. Like, so we've got Mojang with Dungeons 2. So there's that to
just
see.
Announced,
this will be a little bit of a laundry list, but as I just kind of mentally walk the studios, Undead Labs has got the alpha for State of Decay 3.
So excited for State of Decay 3.
So that's cool, and it's great to see that they're at that point. I go to Blizzard, and we see all the progress that they've made with Overwatch, which is great. And then at the end of the month is the Lord of Hatred expansion for Diablo 4. Also coming along great. I mean, it's just amazing every time I
Andrew,
go
thank you.
to visit Blizzard. You're just reminded of sort of the history of Blizzard, and also just the kind of the level of art and craft that exists there, which is great.
Some of the best cinematics in the industry.
Yeah, and maybe later on we can talk a little bit about that, because it's cool what they're doing with some of our teams, so we can circle back on that. But
we got too much to talk about.
We got a lot to talk about. But so, we've got
That will be interesting when they mention that later.
that going on. Elder Scrolls.
I saw a tidbit about that.
They just started their new approach. They kind of call it this Season 0 thing, which is great. And it's exciting to see the reaction.
See, dude, that's how you do a nightclub.
This Season 0 thing, which is great. And
like, you remember the nightclub in Starfield where they're all dressed up like Teletubbies and they're doing like the weird dances and stuff? If you put this into Starfield, just a gigantic lizard monster dancing sensually, I'd be all in. That's what they needed. They got to get these guys on.
It's exciting to see the reaction. It was cool to see some of the Starfield stuff before that came out.
Huge update.
Big update.
Yeah.
I mean, really, kind of a 1.5 release, really, when you think about it. It's great to bring in.
I'm sorry. I just find it funny that everybody's like, oh, is this a 2.0? No, it's more of a 1.5. It's all just like, just tweak it a little bit. It's not a 2.0, but it's a 1.5. Oh, okay.
And new players on new platforms and bring them into the game that Bethesda has built.
The universe, truly.
Yeah, and it's cool to see online, too, some of the things you read where they're like, hey, this might be shaping up now and evolving into being one of their best RPGs in quite a while. So that's really cool to see, right? And then, we've got things going on across the studio. So I could kind of walk the list. I mean, seeing the latest that Obsidian's got going on with Grounded 2, the continued work there. You've got, obviously, all the continued seasons work going on with Call of Duty. Rattling all this off, I guess to bring it to a point, what it makes me think of is just, we have got such an amazing lineup of IP, an amazing lineup of studios. I think in even just entertainment broadly, it's an amazing portfolio, which is just really cool to see that we've got that. And even some of the things that are going on, even as we think about portfolio extension into movies and TVs stuff, it's great to keep up with that. So, I make the joke, we've got everything from like Kiln to COD,
absolutely,
everything from Minecraft to Warcraft. There's probably more of those I could do, but it's
great cadence. That's a song in itself.
It's just always fun to get out and see the studios and everybody, you started out saying, wow, there's kind of a lot going on across Xbox right now, a lot of change in the industry. But the thing that just grounds me is when we go to talk with our studios, it's just everybody's working hard. They're all passionate, excited about their game that they're building, which is really cool.
We really do have just an incredible span of very different teams working with very different specialties across. We've got AAA shooters. We've got inventive party experiences. We've got mind-bending genres and dramas. It's just a lot that you would assume people are kind of working in their own creative bubbles because everything's very specializing in what they're really focused on. But that's actually not the case.
No, it is the case that we have got a lot of different kinds of studios and they've all got their own cultures. So we think about it as a culture of cultures. I see a big part of my job is to provide just enough connection and just enough structure across those that they can communicate with each other, that they can share things back and forth, but never to the point that we're coming in over the top trying to change who they are. But
what's interesting is how those dynamics shifted and changed over the years. Because, for example, there was the reporting that when they bought Bethesda Softworks and ZeniMax and everything, but when they bought ZeniMax, the whole company, they acquired, of course, Arcane. And Arcane, Austin, was working on this little game called Redfall. And apparently, the people that worked there were hoping that Phil Spencer would come in and cancel it. They were hoping that they would get it canceled and get to work on the game they actually wanted to make. That didn't happen because Phil was like, no, I don't want to mess with your projects. You keep doing what you're doing. Like, no, Phil, really, you should come look at this game we're making. You should not go easy on us. You should look at this and see if we need to be punished and have it canceled. Oh boy, man, we need your help here. But he didn't want to do that because he didn't want to step on their toes. And we all know the results of Redfall. You know, it was a case of, I think, well-intentioned lack of supervision, and it caused problems. And so with this, I think it's just interesting to hear how their approach has changed after that, because they realized that we probably need to be more involved. I thought they were working on Blade. So there's two versions or two different branches, or were two branches of Arcane: Arcane Austin and Arcane Lyon. Arcane Lyon is the main, like, Dishonored guys. They're doing Blade. Arcane Austin, they did Redfall.
Really seen a lot, and once we build those connections, of teams starting to share things with each other. So our team in Vancouver, the Coalition, they are really our center of excellence for Unreal Engine work, and that is benefiting the teams, for example, at Brian Fargo's studio in Exile, working on Clockwork Revolution. They're able to benefit from all of the really technical work that they're doing up at the Coalition. There's other examples. We've got the Blizzard Cinematics team helping out on Fable. We've got our studio in Montreal, Compulsion Games, using the Activision mocap studio. We've got, I think, the team at Rare with a lot of multiplayer experience working on Sea of Thieves, helping out Double Fine on Kiln, the pottery game. So there's a lot of examples of that. You know, one, maybe just to sort of show a more complicated round trip, you had State of Decay 2, which had some pretty sophisticated technology for doing saving shared worlds and how you sort of save this persistent state. And the team at Obsidian, which is a really small team that built Grounded, took that tech to use in Grounded, but then the people at Obsidian kind of added to it, and now it's gone first circle back to Undead Labs to be in State of Decay 3. So that's kind of a cool example of how once we build these pathways, there's a lot going on in between the different teams.
Yeah.
Well, and it properly utilized, that is such a competitive advantage to be able to have the Coalition guys that are doing Wizards work with Unreal Engine, to have them be able to go and help a 100-person team working on Clockwork Revolution. You can start to understand why these games start to look like they're punching so far above their weight class. Like Clockwork Revolution, you would not guess that this game was made by like 100 people. Like, this does not look like a tiny operation.
Viewer,
Trust your instincts, sir.
tall,
Yes, sir.
built rather slim, well, muscular.
Mm-hmm.
Was very quick, agile,
Go on.
with a mustache.
No, larger.
Don't want to kill him.
That's why it pays to be clever and well armed. Let's go and end a few arguments.
Dude, I can't wait for that game. I think this is one to keep an eye on, for real. For real. But it's just such a competitive advantage to be able to go to the Coalition and be like, hey, can you just help us? We're trying to figure out why this thing, this one section is stuttering for some reason. Can you help us figure out this optimization? Or, hey, we're trying to do this cool lighting effect, but it's not working quite right. Can you help us with that? We want to do this massive explosion where a whole city block explodes. Can you help us figure out how to do that? It's a huge advantage to be able to tap into that expertise. And it seems like it's been something they've played around with a little bit. There was stories, for example, I think with Starfield, actually it was, where they were saying that id Tech, the Doom guys, they were working and helping BGS on the shooting, like gunplay, to make it feel more punchy and stuff like that, which is just a fascinating, crossover. But it works. The gunplay in Starfield felt a lot better than previous games, so I'll give them that.
I love that they're building on each other's work, not just sharing in one direction, but actually kind of, as you said, bringing that back together. And I think King and Mojang have also done work together,
Yeah,
too.
and the game that we announced, Minecraft Blast, right? So it's more of a game design, gameplay thing. But it's just cool that those two teams can get together and think about, hey, we've got King's expertise, we've got Mojang with the IP. Like, is there something that we can do? And it goes beyond just technology sharing. I mean, there's a lot of tools and approaches to things that, best practices that are also moving back and forth between our studios.
And you mentioned the coalition, and I love that literally XGTG exists at the coalition run by Kate Rayner. So what is the XGTG?
Yeah, I think it's Xbox Games Technology Group.
Yes.
That is the group that really has the center of excellence around Unreal Engine work, and then takes that out, makes it available to the other studios. They're not brought in to work on the games, and they're not a firefighting team. They are developing the technology, but packaging it up in a way that it's very easy to hand off to the other studios. Could probably sit here for a while. We could do a little TED talk on all the things you're on, but we've got a lot of RPG teams. They're sharing narrative tools, and this even goes back to things like some of the in-game store technology that was in Minecraft made its way into Flight Simulator, which then made its way into Starfield. So, we try to stay out of the way, but provide those pathways so that sharing can happen.
Yeah, I love that. We got some of the best people in the business, so why not idea share? More brains are better than one. So we're seeing so much of those skill sets and all of that idea.
Well, and apparently Asha, one of her big things is trying to, I saw a talk she did. It was back in her Instacart days, but basically she was phrasing how one of her goals is to tear down walls. So she wants teams to be able to work very efficiently and quickly together to be able to share resources and move more dynamically, as they say. So it makes sense that she's really pushing for the teams to collaborate a lot more. That lines up.
Sharing really reflected in the content too. It has been an eventful spring, to say the least. So much so that I actually need to consult my notes just to keep up with the sheer volume of it. So we've got Overwatch just launched season 2. We already know who the new damage hero is, Sierra, the 6th new hero just added this year alone. Starfield just released a massive free lanes update for all platforms. One of the coolest things obviously being you can cruise between planets, but tons of other updates and ads and improvements in that massive update. Elder Scrolls Online launched season 0, Dawn and Dusk. New zones, challenges, whole host of improvements there as well. Kiln is releasing next week. Diablo 4 Lord of Hatred releases shortly after one. That's a big new expansion with a new campaign, new classes, Paladin, Warlock. Shout out to Warlock, frankly. New region, and also you get Vessel of Hatred for free, actually, alongside that. And then, of course, we have tons of other things that I can't even remember.
I don't know. Yeah, that was impressive.
Thank you.
The only thing, as I'm going through the list, we've got Minecraft Dungeons 2.
Yeah, announced at Minecraft Live.
Which is noteworthy. I think it's the first sequel, the actual sequel that Minecraft has ever had. Minecraft has done a lot, but
This
I
is
don't know
momentous.
we've ever had a 2 attached
Yes.
to anything.
Oh my gosh, milestone.
And we've seen a lot.
I don't play Minecraft, so I don't know a lot about that, but maybe it's good.
Out of that come together, and it's looking really good.
Yeah, we're very busy teams here.
Yeah, yes.
And then, of course, Forza Horizon 6.
God, Forza, yeah, which is just looking amazing. I had a moment, like we got to see a cut of the trailer, some stuff that will, come out later. But it just took me back to, there's a time, like when I grew up making games myself, like racing games really were a pretty dominant genre in the industry. And, and there were new racing games that would come out, and you'd be so excited. And just what the team has done and the combination of the music that they've brought in and the location and the setting, I had that same sense of excitement of like going to play, other racing games for like the first time. And a lot for me, it was in the arcades, and, they've done such a good job with that series. The reality is we're in a hit-driven business, right? So games like movies, like music, a lot of things, very hit-driven. So for Playground, working in conjunction with Turn 10, to have delivered that series. And then now, I think with FH6, it's not just a sort of a next or like a sideways move. It really feels like a whole new, fresh game. So I don't know, I'm very excited. The stuff that we're seeing is really well put together. It's pretty cool.
And we're seeing that in previews too. I actually grabbed a couple quotes here.
Do we have anybody in chat who's big into Forza? I've never been like super into racing games or anything, so I genuinely don't know how it looks or how it plays or how it feels. If anybody has any like feedback or what you've seen on it, any feelings towards it, let me know.
that I felt were really reflective of a lot of the technical achievement and the cultural achievement. I mean, we've been waiting for Japan for so long.
Whiskey,
so
thank
from
you.
Tech Radar, this quote is, watching passing tower blocks glimmer back to me off the bonnet, I'm convinced driving in a game has simply never looked this good. And they go on to say, like the last entry, handling changes realistically depending on the weather conditions too, and my cars picked up an embarrassing number of scrapes the first time I was caught out in pouring rain. And like that's just such an enjoyable experience that as you get kind of familiar with the game and the environment and the cars and just seeing all of that impact in the environment and on the cars. So it's just really cool to see some of that pick up.
Yeah, and along those lines, we always think about any Forza game as a technical showcase, right? And cars are so great to show that off with the reflections and the materials, the paint and the metal and the rubber and glass and everything. It's really cool. But one of the bigger innovations that we're going to see in Forza Horizon 6 is also just the jump in and play social aspects, right? Which is such a part of gaming today. And the team has really, really put in the time and the hours and the features to make it a game that not only looks great, but is going to really, I think, lend itself to a lot of social play and a lot of easy jump-in play.
Yeah, we featured Forza Horizon 6 in our developer direct, our multi-title developer direct in January, and the team really talked a lot about that, about progression, about those experiences. And I'm excited to see how all of that goes coming later this year. And there was a lot of conversation, too, from previews that I saw about the digital tourism of it, just the sheer beauty of how everything is represented, not just realistically, but just very, very well detailed and thought out. Yes, please.
Yeah, well, on that, it's so interesting you bring that up, that digital tourism, because I hadn't thought about it in the terms of Forza. But yeah, there are times where you just want to drive around and look at things. It's
one of the reasons I liked old school Assassin's Creed games, because it was like, oh, I want to go explore Paris. I want to go explore London, and you could actually do that and climb around Big Ben and do stuff like that. It's back before they got rid of all that and just put it in a forest. That's why I need to get back to good old AC in a medieval setting, medieval city. That's what I want. I want that, because I do think like the video game tourism is legitimately a cool thing that you can experience, a world or a place that you can't right now in real life, but you can do it digitally. That's really, really cool in an interactive way. And so yeah, I think that makes sense as an element of why some people might like a game like Forza.
On that is, we've seen a lot of that with Flight Simulator, right? Which is, it can just generate such amazing graphics. Like on the one hand, there's like study level 737s that you can basically go train in an airplane.
Yeah, literally pilots training.
And that's like for somebody that's out here. But then there's a whole nother aspect of that, the simulator, which is, I just want to fly over my house, or I just want to what's it like to fly over Niagara Falls, right? And
yeah, I told you guys, whenever I'm about to go on a big trip and I want to know like where I'm headed and what it's going to be like, I go in Microsoft Flight Simulator and then I fly around like the airport and the city that I'm going to just experience it and see what it's like and get a lay of the land. My wife made fun of me. She was like, that's so weird. Why would you do that? I'm like, it's cool. It's cool. If I want to go and I want to say, hey, how far are the Great Pyramids from Cairo? I can just go do that. Okay, if I wanted to go Valley of the Kings and fly from there up to the pyramids, how long would that take me? Spoiler alert, it's a while. It's baller, dude. I like trains. Good for you, Sneaky Pickle.
What's it like to fly over the Serengeti? And I love that. I think that there's room for all of that.
Absolutely.
And it's just fantastic you brought that up about Forza, because I hadn't put that together before.
Yeah, Flight Sim is really interesting. I have two older brothers. We grew up gaming, but they don't have time for it anymore. This is their perspective. My oldest brother plays nothing but Flight Sim anymore because he loves having that realistic experience, and it's so actually part of what a pilot's experience.
They don't have time for Xbox? What do you mean they don't have time? Have they heard about Game Pass? The incredible value it offers? What do you mean they don't have time? What do you mean? The stare of death. The stare of... Interesting.
Is that it's nice to have that simulation. And I even think about that with Kiln. You can just sit and make pots all day if you want.
Right,
you don't have to actually pay the
go do anything.
Damn it, I can't say it anymore. Pottery,
Stick to the pottery. No party
yeah,
brawler.
exactly.
Right,
no more puns on that. And IGN did
playable multiplayer party pottery brawler.
Talk a lot about that digital tourism, and I thought this one line from their preview was funny, which says, "If the preview didn't have a cutoff time, I can guarantee you I'd still be playing it now. Not bad for a build with just a tiny sliver of the 550 cars coming on day one."
Oh no. Oh no. IGN likes it. Damn it. I was just starting to think it would be good. Damn it.
And that's a lot of just wanting to live and breathe the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my final quote that I think is pretty apt is from Games Radar.
Luke, the guys at IGN don't like you. You're too mean. Good. Get better. I don't care. Like, bite me.
And it says, fueled by Playground's relentless pursuit of excellence, Forza Horizon 6 is set to become one of the best racing games of the generation. And frankly, if you took the out of context quote of relentless pursuit of excellence, I would have been like, are you talking about Playground? So it's very apt in that sense, and very cool to see that celebration right now.
It's all a reflection of the work that goes on at Playground and them working in conjunction with Turn 10, you know, over the last few years, going over there and just seeing what a sophisticated development organization it is. And just the biggest thing that's probably changed in video games maybe over the last 20 years or so is the level of specialization that happens. And with a game like that, there's just so many of these deep verticals in terms of car handling and graphics and physics and terrain and, you know, the features. So it's just, when you visit there, it's amazing, sophisticated operation. It's great to see that reflected in some what you're reading.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you'll meet some brilliant people where like they're straight up physicists and they're just like have ridiculous graspings of math. You'll walk into a game studio and you see on the whiteboard like an equation written out that's just for something like seemingly mundane. It's like, yeah, we wanted to have a spell cast, and when it goes off, it like pulls objects towards it, kind of like a gravity attraction thing. And so this is just one of the equations that helps figure that out. And you look at it and you're like, bro, I am not this smart. This is crazy. But that's the level of intensity you're dealing with.
And it's the stuff that our players are looking for from those games. So the attention to detail, very important to everybody involved. So yeah, great to see that celebrated. Well, we've been talking a lot about what's coming up, but if we look backwards just a little bit and think about GDC, Jason Ronald was at GDC talking about Project Helix and talking about this platform where you get to play your Xbox games and your PC games. So I would love to understand, what does this mean for the game teams? How are they involved in kind of developing Xbox's console hardware future?
Yeah, I mean, one of the really cool things about us as a publishing and game development organization that makes us different from a lot of other big publishers in the industry is that we are side by side in the same org with the hardware team, right? So we, our teams are involved early on with thinking about the visioning, what's the planning, what are the specs, and of course we're there every step of the way as these things come along. So it's an exciting time. It's great to have the news out there and to be announced. And as we've done with many consoles before, you know, those two teams will work hand in hand as we get that together. And as the hardware comes online, our teams will be the first to get involved. And there's already a lot of that already happening. But that is, I think, where Xbox really shines and where we stand apart, and what makes, you know, shows off what's unique about us, both as a platform and as a, you know, set of game development studios, is when we come together. And the announcement of Project Helix it was an exciting moment to kind of showcase that.
Yeah, I'm sure exciting for people to just start briefly talking about it as we continue to reveal more there.
I saw one person point out they've described it, and so this could have changed, but from when I heard it, they were saying how they couldn't actually find any clear statement from Xbox saying that on Project Helix you can install Steam. The phrasing they've always used is you can play your PC games, but they've never explicitly said you can install Steam. It might just be assumed that, like, no, Steam is where your PC games are. You can play PC. So yeah, you can download Steam, but they've never explicitly said it. And it got me scared because I was like, wait, if they never said it, then what if it's not? And then what does that even mean? Does that mean that like you have to download the games through Steam, but then it's not hosted on Steam, and so it's not like a launcher? I don't know. It was weird. I believe they said you can install other launchers. Is that how they phrased it? Okay. Yeah. It's I think this was set in the aftermath of GDC, or of, no, it would have been GDC. So it was like right as it was fresh. They might have clarified since then, but I fully expect it will launch Steam and you'll be able to download everything. But yeah, it was just interesting. Anyway, continuing.
And we've talked a lot about the studio talent, developing talent at Xbox, sharing skill sets. I really think there's something to Xbox's history around supporting emerging developers for a long line of history, actually. So a lot of people think about ID at Xbox as a perfect example of that, or discovery channels like XBLA back in the day, or Game Pass today. But there's also Game Camp. So what is that program?
Game Camp, it's really an amazing program. It is a way for us to provide mentorship and access and support to people who are early in career and are interested in getting into working in games, but might not have access to it because either where they are, where they live, they're not in a big hub city. So Game Camp really starts with this idea that the tagline has become extraordinary talent resides everywhere. So even though somebody might, again, not have direct access to it, doesn't mean that they don't have great ideas about making games. So it started fairly small, but it's all the people on our teams, right? And they put in extra time above and beyond their day jobs to come together and really provide this structured mentoring sort of system where we run it like a camp. It's just the best name for it. So we get the campers together. They will come together. We work with cities and locations and give us space to work in, and they'll form teams. They build games. They get feedback and advice. The really cool thing is that if you're in Game Camp, you might hear about game coding from one of the people that works on something like Forza. You might hear about game design from somebody like Todd Howard, right? So you get that exposure and that access, and then they're really guided to work in teams and put together a product. And some of those teams have gone on to actually form professional game teams. They've shipped games into ID at Xbox. They've shipped them elsewhere. We've had some of those folks that go through Game Camp come and work on our game teams. It's really fantastic. And I like, there's the old kind of cheesy saying, but like camp is for the counselors. And I think the people on our teams, the folks on our teams, really also get a lot out of it because they're putting in extra time and they see that there's people that have interest in games and a passion for it. And all they really needed was a way to get started, a way to get going. And we've done this in so many locations. We've done it in Detroit and New Orleans, in Belgium and Africa and Sweden. And we've really, gone around the world to do this. And we've kind of got it turned into a program to the point that this year, we're going to be doing a game camp in Minnesota in partnership with Best Buy. So they have their Best Buy Foundation, and they're going to come in and
Yeah, if you didn't know, Best Buy is headquartered in Minneapolis. Fun fact. What are we watching? Fanboy slop. That almost took me out. That's funny. Yeah, these I like these types of programs because there's, again, amazing talent everywhere. Absolutely agree with that. It's how to get them to go into this career instead of giving up on it. I will say I'm glad that they're trying to foster talent. It is a little frustrating to hear about like these types of programs where they're like, yeah, get in the industry, knowing damn well that like most people who are getting into the industry are getting laid off. Maybe not most people, that's an exaggeration, but a lot of people who got into the industry are getting laid off very, very quickly. It's like, well, you can get into the industry if you really want to, but like, just be aware it's pretty cutthroat and you might, get laid off and then not get a job replacement for years. Like I saw one of the guys, I think it was one of the guys Kiwi Talks interviewed. He was like an engineer or a developer with Rockstar who has worked on like Red Dead 2 and GTA 5. And he's been out of work for like 9 months. Can't find a job. That guy can't find a job, So I'm glad they're doing game camps and stuff, but the industry in general is a rough place to get into right now.
Help us with sponsorship, and they're going to help organize it and really help rally the community. It's such a big part of Game Camp too, is the location matters. So I'm excited. I think it's a great validation of the program. It's a great reflection of our teams leaning in, as you said, because upcoming emerging developers. It's such an important part of who we are. And it's just an amazing opportunity for people that are really early in career to get access to things that they might not have otherwise.
And that talent really does exist everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, we're getting close to our time here. I think they're going to kick me out, not you, obviously. But I did want to ask you, we've talked about a lot of how this year is shaping up to be very busy for us, very content filled. We've got studios expanding into new IP. We've got more DLC and seasonal content coming everywhere on our live service games. We've got all the recent announcements about what's coming up next. So when you look at all of that and you look at our portfolio and our content this year, what's the thing that really stands out for you?
We are laying off another 3,000 people. Sorry. You have to laugh or you'll cry about it.
Wow. Well, now you're just asking me to like pick a favorite kid, and that's almost impossible.
Just between
right?
you and I, no one else is listening.
We just took a trip down to Irvine, and we've got quite a lot of studios there with Blizzard Campus and then Obsidian and with In Exile. And we got to see the latest updates on Clockwork Revolution, which is
so
just
excited about Clockwork
really
Revolution.
coming along, right? I think it's a bit of a cliche to say they punch above their weight, but like it's kind of hard. You got to remind yourself, like, this is a team of 100 people, and it looks like a lot more than that. So it really is coming along. So that's like fresh in my mind in terms of what we see. Macro, I would say it's great that I can look through the rest of this calendar year. And we've got some really big games with big franchises and lines up with the 25th anniversary of Xbox. But then it keeps going, right? Which is exciting. And I hope that that's a reflection of us getting to a cadence of things where we've hit this kind of critical mass where we can, make sure that there's big things coming mixed with some of the smaller things, mixed with the updates, with the goal of just making sure that all of our games have got their own window and their own time to shine. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, because I've been, among the chorus of people that's been frustrated that Xbox has really struggled to make each game really pop. Xbox's games especially, they seem like they come and they go just as fast, like Doom, big game. I mean, it's freaking Doom, the Dark Ages, Doom. And it feels like people talked about it for a week and a half and then it disappeared, Same kind of like with Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones was really good. It was gone pretty quick. Outer Worlds 2, that's another one, it also was here and then just gone and nobody talked about it. So they've got big games. It's just, how do you make them make a splash? How do you make it really feel like a beat, a moment? Like if GTA 6 is a beat, then nothing else is a beat. But like GTA 6 is going to be a freaking chapter to itself. What most games hope for is a beat, like Expedition 33 was a beat. That moment happened. And it changed things. People refer back to it. They think about it, And I don't think they've figured out the best way to do it for these other games. And part of it is just they have so many games that it's tough. I mean, I don't envy them because they are trying to juggle a bajillion games all at the same time. But I think if they really give time or give games, if they really give games time to shine and sizzle and simmer, it's going to help a lot. Like, I think Gears, they have a big moment with that. That could be huge. Because Gears and Fable both are supposed to come towards the end of this year, allegedly. I feel like Fable has to launch in October, otherwise, but then also Gears. Like, I don't think either one of them wants to go up against GTA 6. So, and they definitely want to get one of them out the door. They don't want to delay both. If they're going to delay one, it's probably Fable. They've said that they are actually locked in for this year. They will come out this year, which makes me think Fable is maybe even earlier. Maybe Fable is like September. And then that puts, you could do Gears in like October. Maybe that works. But I don't know, man. It's a tough needle to thread. Tell you what. I thought Fable was already delayed. Oh God, am I crashing out? Yeah, as Fable is rumored to be delayed. This is from yesterday. One of the main social media accounts for the Fable reboot is no longer telling fans they can look forward to playing the game in 2026. This development came after a reporter said the game had been delayed internally and may not release this year. They said autumn 2026. And then apparently like one of the social media accounts stopped saying 2026. Yeah, Jeff Grubb said that he thought it was a prime candidate to slip into 2027. Fable X account posted at least 3 times to say Fable was coming in fall 2026 prior to the last post mentioning 2026 on April 13th. The account has engaged with fans since then, but none of the message included mentioned 2026 for the release. So, I mean, yeah, they were saying it, but 4 days ago, they were still saying autumn. So, like, yeah, I guess it's possible, but like, I don't know, man. If it's delayed, I don't think I'd be shocked. You know, I'd be like, okay. They seem confident about it. They're doubling down on it, tripling down on it. But if they're going to delay Gears or Fable, I think they delay Fable. You know, that's kind of what my expectation is, but we'll see. Anyway, I think that they are, you know, Xbox is starting to kind of get into a little bit of a groove, and I hope that they stick to it and are able to continue making progress and moving forward, because they need to figure their crap out. It's what's best for the industry. It's what's best for everybody. Even if you're a PlayStation gamer and you don't care at all about any of Xbox's games or anything, you should still be rooting for them to figure their stuff out and to be competitive, because it'll force PlayStation to be competitive. You want to avoid a $1,000 PlayStation 6? Hope that Xbox figures it out and can give them a run for their money. Because if they feel like they have if they own the market, they're not going to feel the need to be really competitive, and because they can be greedy and it'll be fine, you know? And so you should be hoping that they figure it out. And that's what I'm hoping for. A successful Xbox means a cheaper PS5. Hopefully PS6 too. Hopefully. Until they get rid of the developer guidelines, Xbox will never have hit games that aren't racing. They've been all downhill since. The developer guidelines, I'm not sure what you're referring to specifically, but they've had they have some massive IP, some big games. It's just been a matter of figuring out how to get stuff out the door consistently, that's high quality, that lives up to people's expectations, and then to also make them feel like real beats, real moments. If you can't do that, you're in trouble, and that's been a difficulty for them. You know, Xbox walks in and they're all green, and they look at you and they just say this and expect you to go along with it.
Call me asparagus.
Call me asparagus. That's all. That is all. What are big games? Expensive games? Why is that inherently good? When we say big games, I think, of course, it depends on what people are individually meaning. But when I would say big games, I mean a big game in terms of impact. And by impact, it's like player counts, player interest, and things like that. Does that mean expensive? Sometimes. I would say like Expedition 33 was a big game. As far as like gaming culture is concerned, it's a big game. But was it a particularly expensive game? No, it was one of the cheapest games that was nominated for any Game of the Year award probably ever, you know. It just depends on what you mean, I guess, but yeah. Budget approved.